Hello and welcome to part 2 of my basic CSS3 animation tutorial. In this segment we will be setting up the CSS style sheet and completing the animation. Let's get started. What you see here is my @moz keyframes function that I have named move jaffers. Inside of that I have set my first keyframe 0%. This percentage value defines how far through the animation it will apply the styles inside its curly brackets. As you can probably guess, 0% is the first keyframe and defines what styling occurs right at the beginning of the animation. We need to add 2 more keyframes to the function. Here I have added a keyframe at 50% through the animation and one at 100%. The background color of each div stays the same, but I change the position and size of each div as the animation progresses. This is what will make them look as though they are rolling down the street. Pause the video, open a new file in your text editor and save it as jaffers.css, and then type everything out that we've done so far. Resume the video once you are done. Now that we've defined our move jaffers keyframes function, we need to style our divs and assign the move jaffers keyframes to each of our jaffer divs. Underneath our keyframes function, type #container, then underneath that enter the open and closing curly brackets. This is where we will style our container div that we defined within our HTML file in part 1 of this tutorial. Through the magic of copy and paste, I now have the styling I require the container div to have. The position is very important when it comes to this CSS animation. If the container div does not have relative positioning, then the animation will not work the way you intend it to. I have also given the div a width of 550 pixels, a height of 412 pixels, a thin black border, and set the background image to the baldwin.jpg image file. You must make sure that your baldwin.jpg image is in the same folder as your CSS and HTML files. The Baldwin image file is available on this website. Just right-click it and save as. Now we need to style our jaffer divs and assign the animation keyframes to each of them. Below your container div styling, type out each of your jaffer divs separated by a comma, and as before, go down a line and open and close your curly brackets. Like the container div, we will define the style for each jaffer div inside these brackets. A bit of copy-paste magic again here, and these are the properties we need each of them to have. Again, position is important, and they need to be absolute in order to move around the relatively positioned container div. Each jaffer div will start out at the very left of the container, and are 380 pixels down from the top, with a width of 30 pixels and a height of 30 pixels. The border radius is 50%, which rounds all of the corners and makes the div spherical in appearance. The last line is very important. This is how we assign the keyframes to each jaffer div. We are using the moz animation rule and passing it our move jaffers keyframes function. The animation length is set to 10 seconds. We are not easing into the animation, and the animation will iterate 5 times. Pause the video, enter all of this in, come back and resume the video for the final stage. Now that we have assigned the animation keyframes to each of the jaffer divs, we need to make sure that there is a slight delay between each animation so that they don't animate on top of one another. Below your jaffer div styling, type #jaffer1 curly bracket -moz -animation -delay space 0.25s semicolon squiggly bracket. This is ensuring that the first jaffer div waits for 0.25 of a second before firing its animation. Now we just add the rest of the jaffer divs and increase each one by a further 0.25 of a second. Save your file and open it up in Mozilla Firefox. You have now completed the tutorial and should have a CSS3 animation of 5 jaffers rolling down Baldwin Street as you see on your screen now. Thank you for completing my tutorial. Please check out the other features on my website.